Hello, folks. We're all very welcome back to the Celtic Soul podcast. It's been a brilliant weekend for sport. Celtic beat Hibs 3-1, the best of the rest in Scotland are Hibs, and we beat them comfortably on Saturday. Followed that, Anthony Kakachi from Belfast, a good Tim, delivered a very impressive performance in Nottingham when he beat hometown fighter Lee Wood to retain his IBO title. A ninth-round stoppage. When the towel came in from the Woods corner, 36 years of age, the Belfast boy, some big fights still ahead of him, and hopefully he gets the big payday he richly deserves. So well done, Anthony. And on Sunday, the county of Louth, finally, in my lifetime, I got to see them lifting the trophy when they won the Leinster Championship against, big rivals, Meath, on neighbouring county. What a great game. What a great victory. So many local Drogheda boys in the team. The Downies, the Mulroys, the McDonalds, they'll all be celebrating. This magnificent victory. The town was absolutely bonkers last night. My son and his girlfriend got in at 3 a.m. or maybe it was 3:30 this morning after celebrating into the wee hours. And I'm sure that the celebration will continue all week. The publicans will be counting their money in the bank today because it was a great victory, great for the town and great for the county. So well done, Louth on Luaboo, and on to the All Ireland finals now. It's where 3 games away. No Leinster title since 1957. The last time they also won the All Ireland. The bookies don't give us a chance, but who knows? Maybe. Folks, on the podcast today, I'll be talking Celtic with Matt McGlone as we look back at the Hibs game at the weekend, and we look forward to Aberdeen on midweek fixture and, of course, Trophy Day at the weekend. Saturday, we will see Celtic lift another trophy in front of the fans at Celtic Park. So, without further ado, I'll get a wee chat with Matt. But before I do, just a quick reminder, if you'd like to sponsor an episode of the podcast or an advert in the fanzine, you can do so by contacting us at info@celticfanzine.com. And if you visit the website, celticfanzine.com, you'll find all our news, blogs, audio podcasts and videos on the website, and you'll also find our merchandise, and you can in our online shop. We have t-shirts, badges and scarves for purchase, and you can get the latest copy of the fanzine. The print edition is sold out, but you can still download the digital, and the best way to make sure you get every issue of the print copy is to subscribe, and that's all there on the website. And if you like the podcast, we don't put anything behind a Patreon or a paywall. You can donate for the price of a cup of coffee if you like what you hear or watch or read even. So thank you very much, and let's hear from Matt. Matt, you're very welcome back to the Celtic Soul podcast for what is now becoming some very regular chats. It's always great to have you on. Matt, we've got 2 games coming up this week to preview, and also a look back at Saturday's game. The best of the rest, Hibs, probably the best team in the league on form, came to Celtic Park, took a lead probably against the run of play, but Celtic responded and really put in a really good performance on what was a beautiful day in paradise. The sun was shining.
Yeah, and I've got to say, I saw some fictitious award yesterday at the Rangers groundsman talking about Celtic Park looking splendid. The Rangers groundsman just said he got awarded the award of the pitch of the season. It's the only thing they won at Ibrox, the pitch of the season. But nobody seems to know what the competition was.
Well,
did they just make it up themselves and say we've got the best pitch and handed the groundsman an award?
Well, you know anyway, what, Matt? If it was a gold shovel, I think it will look very well in the trophy room beside the bicycle.
And there would be no Mr. Sheen.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
Anyway, talking about that, so yeah, Celtic Park Saturday. I thought Celtic were amazing. The park looks immense. I mean, it looks like a bowling green. It looked fantastic. Um, I was thinking in the way up to the match, would Celtic maybe rest a few players? And then when I saw the team on the way, I thought, well, they obviously haven't. So it would seem that Brendan's psychology to me is that players are only going to not be played between now and the final if they're carrying an injury. And he's going to play his best team right up until a week on Saturday, which is only Wednesday and this weekend coming up. So, yeah, I think Celtic looked in good top form. The good thing about playing Hibs is they come and attack you. They don't stand with 10 men behind the ball. They've got a bit of belief. They beat us at Easter Road. And obviously that disputed, was that ball out when Alistair Johnson crossed it or was it in? We could be here all day talking about that. But anyway, we lost that game. So they came with a lot of belief to Celtic Park and they need the points because they want to finish in third position, which is quite remarkable for them considering they're way down at the bottom of the league. So they attack Celtic, and I think when you attack Celtic, it makes it a more open game, and it gives Celtic more opportunities. The way we play, not having to run up against a packed defence all the time, and that's the way it came around. All pretty good goals. I mean, Hatate's goal, the way the ball get passed about in the box for him to finish, it was like the Hibs defence was mesmerised. A good all-round performance for Celtic, and good to see the young lad coming on at the end.
Yeah, and when you talk about Brendan and his team selection, Schmeichel was back.
Yeah, football's a tough game when you have to make decisions as a manager. Sinasola has played well for Celtic since he came in, and they might have been eyeing that cup final spot, or maybe even playing in the game next week. We don't know who's going to play next Saturday and goal, because Brendan's already said Schmeichel played Saturday against Hibs, but Sinasola will play on Wednesday night. He's already said that against Aberdeen. But I think you've always got to go with your number one for the cup final, and you'll probably do it as well. You might give each keeper a half each against St Mirren on Saturday. But it's a tough business. You have to make a tough decision. Schmeichel's been the number one goalie. He's coming back from injury, and I think it's only right he plays the cup final. Had luck in the other boy, but his opportunity will hopefully come.
Yeah, and on a positive note, for the young keeper, Matt, Brendan spoke last week about if Schmeichel had stayed fifth of the season, they would have a decision to make at the end of the season. Do they put him out on loan to get for him to get regular playing time and to have a look at him, to assess him? But now they know that they can put him in, and maybe next season, Schmeichel may be rested for certain games, and he may get his chance.
Yeah, I think that's the way it'll go next season. I think you're right there, Andrew, for two reasons. One, you have to blood the new keeper in rather than just throwing him in at the start of the following season. Casper is not getting any younger, and I think he would understand playing certain games and another keeper getting bloodied in other games. That's the first reason. The second reason is I don't think you can give the guy a taste of football after he's been here, a year. In fact, it's more than a year, isn't it? And then leave him all out next year. I expect him to wait 2 years for his opportunity. Okay, it's a big club, Celtic, but football still wants to play. They paid over £1 million for Sinasola, so they obviously see him as the future number one. So I think next year, both keepers will play, and I think that's only right to keep Sinasola, interested in the fact that Celtic do earmark him as Kasper Schmeichel's replacement.
Yeah, he speaks very well. I've listened to a couple of press conferences with him, and we done an interview with him as well, as part of the fan media thing earlier in the season. So yeah, he does, and he seems a confident kid in his own ability as well. He doesn't seem overawed at the club, where some young players may have, when your opportunity comes when you don't expect it.
Yeah, he's very self-assured. You can see he's very noisy on the park. He's shouting and talking to other players. He's not insular. He's not thinking, "Oh, I've got an opportunity at Celtic. What will I do here?" He's walked onto that park and he looks like he's in charge of his area. He bosses players around that he's hardly ever played with, who are big players. So that's a good confident sign. I also liked his chat, at the press conference last Friday when he was talking about the objects that were thrown at him behind the goal. He said over 40. I think it's good that we should be speaking out about this. I feel as a club we've been too quiet. It was either last season or the season before. He was under Ange. The physio get bottled and he gets his head split open, walking down the tunnel at half time. Last year, Joe Hart had bottles thrown at him and coins in Sinasola this year. So, I've always thought Celtic were too slow in highlighting this. Now the goalkeeper has come out and said it. And he said, what happens if that bottle hits somebody and they lose an eye and their football career's over? This should never be accepted as being part of football. Throwing an object onto a park is wrong. Whatever stadium it's at, it's mindless, it's moronic behaviour. Celtic, if they don't get any kind of assurances via Rangers or to the SFA via Rangers that this is going to get sorted out, then I think we really have to say we're not prepared to put a team out at Ibrox if our players are going to be bottled all the time. 40 objects, over 40 objects thrown, coins, bottles, lighters, vapes. Honestly, why should a player go to his work, going onto the park, thinking that he might get injured? Some players might feel a bit intimidated by that, going up for a cross ball and a bottle's flying towards your face. The SFA, or Rangers initially, if Celtic have to go through the SFA to get this sorted out, we have to say we want some kind of assurances that our keepers are not going to get bottled and things thrown at. Aaron Engels last year, or actually this season, at Ibrox in the 3-0 game, was hit with something over at the corner flag. It's just beyond a joke now. It's unacceptable. And whether Rangers have to put nets up behind the goal, hanging down to stop objects, or they have people standing there watching, fans lift their arm to throw something, can't be that hard. They say there's cameras everywhere. This needs to get sorted out. I'm fed up with Celtic getting the players assaulted with objects at Ibrox.
Matt, if I throw a bottle at you in the street, you can be sure a camera will pick it up somewhere.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
They say that walking about the streets in Glasgow, if you're walking about Glasgow, not in an area where but maybe in the city centre, you're cameraed between 85 and 90 times a day. Your picture is on a camera 85 to 90 times a day in Glasgow city centre. Now you've got a condensed group of people at Ibrox Stadium, and you've got cameras on them. You can't throw something without lifting your arm. How does that work?
yeah, no, we totally agree. I totally agree with you on that one, Matt. But moving on to back to the Hibs game, Matt. There's still a lot of oohs and ahs, and I suppose criticism of Adam Ida when he's on the ball. Now, if I think back to the first half, when he had some great chances, but I thought Kyun was having a quiet game, and then he pops up with the goal, to equalise, and you're going, wow, that's brilliant. But half time even I hear people giving out about Adamida, and I kind of go, well, he's getting into positions. You know, yeah, maybe he's finishing. His last touch could have been better. He then gets his goal to put us 2-1 up at half time, going in. The pie's going down a lot better, man. Maybe 2-1 for a day for the Bovril, but the conversation still goes back to him. And I heard one guy saying, I can't understand why Johnny Kenny is not playing. And I asked him, I said, have you ever seen Johnny Kenny play? No, have you watched him with Rovers? Because his best football was in Europe when Rovers were on the counter attack. And like to make a flippant comment that Johnny Kenny should be playing ahead of Adam Meada is is remarkable, I think, because unless you've been a Rovers fan and you've been watching him week in, week out, I don't think you really know how good or how bad of a player Johnny is. Brendan sees them in training every day. And then Brendan, I was delighted when Brendan came out at the end of the game and he was asked about Adamida and he said he had a brilliant game. He played brilliantly. He said his energy, his positioning, his runs. He said, there's a couple of offsides that may have been onside. So the manager, is who's seen them in training every day is happy. But yeah, people are just any excuse to have a pop at Adam.
Well, on John Kenny, I've never actually seen him play apart from a couple of fleeting appearances as substitute. So I wouldn't be able to say he has to play in front of Adamida because I don't know how good or bad he is. We would have to see the guy start the game. And as you say, if his best games have been for Shamrock Rovers on the counter-attack in Europe, then you've basically got a guy bombing up the park, chasing the ball. That's how counter-attack goals are scored. Whereas at Celtic, we don't really play that way. Adam, I think, gives you the impression, on Brendan's comment there you mentioned, I think Brendan has always got to keep players on board. I don't think it's right ever to criticise a player in public. So I don't think he's going to do that. And I don't think he's really done it any time he's been at Celtic over the two occasions. On Adam, he does get himself into great positions. And when he scores a goal, it's generally a good goal because he's worked for it. Sometimes, and I think on Saturday, he looked a bit sluggish. And I think that's why fans are being critical. I'm not overcritical of him. But I think he gives the impression that he looks a bit sluggish, running for the ball, and a bit careless in his finishing. And I think that's why some fans are thinking that. He is missing a few chances. He did miss quite a few. But the goal that he took was very sharp. The goal that he took, he just turned and hit it. He knew exactly where the space in the goal was that the keeper wasn't covering. That's a sign of a very good striker. I like Adam, but I think he has to maybe do a bit more work on his game, and I think Celtic will be working at that in the background. But I'm not overly critical of him, but I think he has to offer a bit more. But he deserves a starting place in the team, absolutely.
Yeah, I've followed Adam's career, especially with Ireland, and he got criticised as well with Ireland. Now he wouldn't have been getting the same supply with Ireland as he does with Celtic. Do I think he's improved under Brendan Rodgers? I think he has improved under Brendan Rodgers, most definitely. Can he improve more? I think there's more. I think there is more. Will we bring in another striker in the summer? I think we will. So but we are gonna, if we qualify for the Champions League, which we hope we do, there's going to be an awful lot of football, and if a player gets injured, we do need another striker, and I think we will go out and buy one and pay a few quid for him as well. Hopefully we don't have to break the bank, but I think we will. Another player who was, I hope we hold on to, because Brendan has said some players may move on. Was Hatate. I thought he was outstanding on Saturday. He's probably been in the shadow of other players at certain times during the season, but his all-round play on Saturday was just brilliant, and then he got rewarded with the goal as well. I just thought he was brilliant.
Yeah, Tati, he played well. There's lots of games throughout the season he can be quite quiet in, but when he gets his head into a game, he's all over the place. He's running, and his movement into space is tremendous. And as you know yourself, he gets a snippet goal. He's got the opportunity to just ping one, whether it's from maybe 25 yards or whether it's from the one he scored on Saturday, a lot closer to goal. Yeah, he's a good player, but again, he's another player I think we have to get a wee bit more out of when we're looking at over the season. Squad wise, I think you mentioned there, I think the days are gone, Andrew, where we have a 15-man squad. I think clubs always used to talk about having a squad of 15 players. Celtic squad, I think, has to be 20 to 22. That has to be a first-team squad. And I think out of those 20 to 22 players, you have to be saying every one of them should be deemed as possibly a starter. Anthony Ralston is in effect a squad player, but at the minute he's a starter, and he's fine for a starter. It's an international player, Anthony Ralston. So I think you have to have guys of that calibre to come in. I think we spoke in the last programme about the lad from Scandinavia who was, meant to be coming in. Forgive me, I can't remember his exact. Is it Chris Jansen? Maybe I might be totally out there. But we didn't get him, and it looked like we would. And we get through the rest of the season from January onwards, because I think we had a handsome lead in the table. And I think that's why that particular player or another striker hasn't come in, because we wanted the guy that we had earmarked. And that might well happen this summer. So, I think, if another forward comes in, then Maeda goes back onto the wing, doesn't he? And then you've got the new forward, or Adam Ida, playing centre forward. And you had those two as vying for that position. But yeah, we definitely need another out-and-out striker. There's no doubt about it. Maeda's filled in, and it's been pleasantly so. The amount of goals he's scored, it's been fantastic. And, but I think we were fortunate having the lead in January that we had, that we knew we could get by, although we all wanted another striker in.
Yeah, Maeda, he didn't get a goal on Saturday. He has been outstanding. He's player of the year, probably the best player in Scotland this season. And Saturday's game was the football for all, ability, the ability counts thing, and it was lovely to see all the children coming out with the players onto the pitch, because you wouldn't have seen that years and years ago, but then Maida comes out with the dog, and someone posts a picture of him with the dog, and you go, he's even got time to walk the dog.
I saw something, I think it was on Twitter, it said Maeda's the only guy who's got a dog where the dog throws the ball for Maeda.
Oh, some people are very quick,
I think it's great to having kids out, and kids who are maybe don't have the opportunities in life that other kids have, from various different conditions that they may have. What's wrong with having that all the time? Why don't we have that all the time? Young kids coming out, because I remember when I was a wee boy getting Billy McNeil's autograph. I never forgot the moment. It was a thrill. And if I'd been in the position to be, led out of the team, it'd been something you never forget either. So why don't we do it in every game? It doesn't detract from anything regarding the player's focus. The player walks out, taking the kid out, and the kid gets a day to remember. Maybe we should look at that, maybe enhancing that. Think of all the opportunities the kids would get,
Yeah,
They do it in European ties all the time, don't they? All the European games. I've seen various competitions. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. Another point to Dyson's game, you probably noticed in the second half, he was back defending like a centre half. The guy was on the ball, and Maeda made it his want to go and chase the ball down and act as a shield in between Schmeichel and the Hibs player. And he's way back there, which would be a centre half's job, a centre half's position. And it's just like he pops up everywhere, running from wing to midfield to up front, and now back almost at centre back position in that instance. What a player. I just hope it's still to hang on to him. He would be, not tempting fate here, but hopefully, but he'd be a sensation for teams in England. You
Yeah,
know,
his walk rate is phenomenal. And
Mhm.
can you imagine being one of the young players that's called up to train with the first team, on a weekly basis in Lennoxtown? Can you imagine the young players looking at him going, "That's what that's what I need to, that's the effort and the commitment I need to put in."
Mhm.
Is
Mhm.
absolutely. And I remember late in the game when he went back, and he won that ball, and you're kind of like, where did he come from?
And that's what I'm saying. He pops up. It's like he falls out of the sky. I mean, he is, of all the footballers we've all seen, he is a one-off.
Yeah,
To try and teach another player to be like him and actually to manage it, it would be impossible, really. Maeda is a phenomenon, who has arrived here and improved as a player as he's arrived. I mean, I think we were all a bit critical of his finishing when he first came because his play was so fast. He didn't seem to have the composure to finish. You could probably say that about him. But whatever Brendan's done or the coaching staff at Lennoxtown, they've turned him into an even faster player who has ended up with composure in the final finish. Unfortunately, Ibrox, I think he was going that fast. No, with Tavernier like in his slipstream, trying to keep up with him. I think Maeda was going that fast. They ended up shooting when Kelly came out,
yeah.
in that last kick of the ball, literally. We're all experts watching it later on in TV, and we see two Celtic players to Maeda's right hand side, one of them being Johnny Kenny. His dreams would have been made,
Oh,
and
he's up there with Tony Watt if he scores that.
his dreams would have been made if he slipped that ball to the right.
Yeah.
But listen, no criticism of Dyson there.
Oh,
It's one of these things. The guy's running at pace. He's finished before like that, and he maybe didn't have a chance to properly make judgment as to who was on his right hand side. It's all right watching the telly and you see an overall picture of the game. And
I've so like when I think back at Maida this year, the lasting memory, well, we still have a cup final to come. My lasting memory is the League Cup final when he walked up to take that the last penalty, and
super cool.
as I hit the back of the net, man, I couldn't even wave the celebration, so I had to run to try and get a taxi to the airport. I was gone out of Hampden. I was almost as fast as Maida down them stairs at Hampden.
Well, hang on a minute.
But, but another thing, William McStay said to me, about young players and players, he says you can improve their game. He says you can teach them how, in front of goal, you can teach them to defend. You can teach players. He said, but one thing you can't teach them is speed. That's a natural thing that some players have and some players don't. And Maida has that by abundance.
Yeah, he has. He really is a different player that I've never seen before in my whole time watching Celtic. He's just got this dynamic speed, and he doesn't seem to get tired at the end of the game. The defending situation we're talking about the weekend there, he's bombing all over the place. Fantastic, great player, and hope we hang on to him. Celtic, as we know, are always a selling club because that's how they make money, and we just hope that he stays. He's a huge part because next year, big year, 56, going for 56 titles. And you got to be saying right now, why not? Why should we not be favourites?
Well, there will be a new team in the league next year, and I don't mean Falkirk. We have the Leeds reserves. Or maybe they'll be called the 49er reserves. I don't know, but the feeder club for Leeds United will be in the league.
That's one of those how to win friends and influence people statements.
Like just staying on Maida. While she was sitting beside me at the game the other day, and like when he did go back to defend near the end of the game, we just looked at each other, right? And then like we said, can you imagine he came from Japan after playing a full season, went straight into the team from Christmas, played the full season, went to went to the World Cup, played the World Cup, missed pre-season, and get back him into the team. Like, you know,
Aye.
he doesn't even catch a breath.
Aye. There was either a comic character or a cartoon character, Billy Whiz. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Billy Whiz just like had an eternal engine and just
Uh,
bombed around. He's like him. I mean, after we won the league at Tannadice, we played Rangers at Ibrox. He'd been to Japan and back. You know, I've worked out they went through about 3 or 4 different time zones each way. Now, you and I go one trip to America and you come back. I'm lying rigid in the couch for a day after it.
at
No,
least.
because I've only flown the Atlantic. Within 6 days, it must have been 5 days because he left on the Sunday and was back on the Friday.
Yeah, and
And
he
he
only
went back,
got back to play five-a-sides.
he went back to Japan and came back, and it's just like that last minute at Ibrox, he's leaving Tavernier in his slipstream. It's just unbelievable.
You
What
know,
a player.
and that just shows like his his professionalism. You know, another player coming back from Japan saying, "I'll leave me here for this week, boss." You know what I mean?
You get the impression, when he gets off the plane, not that he's in a hurry, mate, just bombs down the steps, bombs through passport control, right out. No,
Probably got
bombs
his
in
kit
there.
on.
I put his kit on at the same time.
Yeah, and he'll be, he'll probably play on Wednesday night in Aberdeen. You know they took a pounding on Sunday. Ibrox, the half empty stadium finally got a win to cheer.
Half
But
of them never saw it.
I noticed as well, Matt. At the start of the game, there wasn't many singing "Simply the Best" when they ran out.
Something I think, I really think that they adopted that song, right? We sang it at Ibrox. I think we should play that next week with Celtic this Saturday. I think we should play that as the team come out. Now, the stadium would be in fits of laughter, and you can imagine the other side would be spitting feathers.
Oh, Tyler.
Why not? Why not? Listen, they didn't write the song, right? Tina Turner, when she found out the add-ons they were putting onto the song, never wanted it played at Ibrox. It's her song. They adopted it. We can take it now because we are the best. We are the best. We've won the most trophies ever in Scottish football.
Well,
You know,
according to Rangers fans, we are the most successful club in the world.
well, they
According
may
to them, no, we didn't make that up. They made that up.
well, they might have thought that up to a year or so ago. But even then, technically, they weren't because they died in 2012, and then out of the ashes came what is there just now. So even then, they were wrong. Anyway, whatever year they want to decide they were born, I mean, it's a bit of a thing having to think when you were born, isn't it? You don't actually know. We'll say it was this, but it was really that. Okay.
Oh fuck!
Whatever year they think they were born, we have still won the most trophies.
Yeah. And talking about trophies, Matt, and cups, there was huge celebrations in my county and my hometown yesterday. The wee county of Louth had not won a Leinster title since 1957, 68 years, Matt. We played Mead, who are our biggest rivals. The counties are beside each other, and there's a lot of history and bad blood between the counties, even though families were split yesterday. But Louth went to Croke Park yesterday, over 60,000 fans, and came home with the cup. And to say the fucking town was bonkers last night is not a statement.
Mm-hmm.
I would say today that there's phone lines probably crashed with people calling in sick to work because there's. I had my son coming in at 3:30 this morning. Now he had booked a day's holidays. 3:30 this morning coming in with his girlfriend, and they were still celebrating. So, uh, up loud on Luaboo, man.
Well done.
Incredible. So, and those scenes will be like the scenes yesterday will be like what will happen in Glasgow on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Aberdeen away, a dress rehearsal for the cup final, and also then we have Trophy Day, which will see Glasgow celebrate the green and white once more.
Well, yeah, I should have come over to Ireland because on Saturday morning my postman delivered my Irish passport, and
I did see it. Congratulations.
I've got to say I was majorly chuffed. I got my citizenship earlier this year, but getting the passport is another process. And I must say I was extremely proud to get it, really proud and touched. It came via my mother and her father, who was born in Killeen, small border town, County Armagh. He was born in 1891, and forever grateful to him. Now, I feel it's a link. A lot of Celtic fans, we all feel, a link to Ireland. But me personally, I felt that this was a family link, just going back, 2 generations. And I'm actually going to Dublin tomorrow for a wee day, and I'll be having the burgundy passport out.
You love them day trips to Dublin, Matt. You'll also have the bonus of being able to skip the queue when you get off a flight in Spain, which I have the privilege of doing quite often when I fly from Glasgow to Spain, because I don't have to queue up in the big queue with the UK passengers because I breeze through the EU with about a handful of people. So
Well,
that's always a treat, especially when I'm smiling at the ones wearing blue jerseys.
Well, I'll be breezing through there as well, Andrew, pretty soon. And I have to tell you a quick story about, I have to say, a previous relationship. This probably didn't help this story for this relationship not to be a current relationship. I had said a few years ago I was thinking of getting Irish passport, and my female partner at the time said, an Irish passport? I said, yeah. She says, what do you want that for? And I said, well, I want to look back through my family, and plus on a more chivalry note, a more humorous note, I can just fly through passport control, because Brexit is, you fly into Spain and there's 4 flights from UK, which has happened quite a lot. 3 or 4 flights come in within half an hour of each other, and they're all queuing back. You can wait 45 minutes to get through. I said, so it'll save me waiting. I says, I can just fly straight through. And she says, what about me? I says, well, what about you? I says, I'll wait at the bar. Oh, I have to say that probably contributed to that relationship's demise.
Another one bites the dust.
As fast as my eater. Meow.
Matt, it's as always, it's been a pleasure. I'll chat to you soon. Thanks very much for taking time. And
pleasure, Andrew.
It's
always
been
a pleasure.
It's been a good laugh as well, and it's always good to to have a laugh and a smile as well, because sometimes life deals you some difficult cards, but this morning we've had a great laugh.
Yeah, it's it's good to laugh, because life can be a bit of a hurdle for all of us, and we've all been there in difficult times, and sometimes we have lighter moments and lighter moods. And that, somebody had said to me a long time ago, Matt, life's not a dress rehearsal. And I always remembered that, and I thought, no, you're right. Anything you do, you need to do now. You have to do it right now. And if you're thinking of doing something, do it today, if you can do it today. And today we've had a real good laugh and celebrated our team's great season. We're coming to the end of a great season. So It's always fun to speak to you, Andrew. Always fun to speak to you.
Enjoy your day in Dublin tomorrow. I'd love to join it, but some of us have to walk, and I will see you no doubt. But hopefully,
On the sunny slopes of Celtic Park pretty soon.
talk to you soon, Matt. Thank you very much.
Hail, hail.
Folks, thanks very much for listening. Hopefully, I'll see some of you on our travels this week. We're in Aberdeen on Wednesday. And then, of course, Paradise welcomes back 60,000 fans to celebrate another trophy day, another league club, another league title for the most successful club, not only in Scotland, but as Matt and myself joked, in the world. And that title was made up by our neighbours Rangers. So they now claim that Celtic are the most successful club in the world, and fair play to them. Folks, if you like what you hear, read, or see, you can, for more, you can visit our website, celticfanzine.com, where you'll find all, where you'll find all our latest blogs, news, podcasts, videos, and you'll also find our online shop where you can buy some t-shirts, badges, and scarves, and you can also get the latest issue of the Fanzine issue 137, which the print copy is sold out, but you can still download the digital, and you can also subscribe, which is the best way to make sure you get every print copy of the Fanzine. And if you're subscribing for 12 issues, we'll throw in a free t-shirt. And you can also donate for the price of a pint if you like what you hear. If you like the podcast, we don't bank behind a Patreon or a paywall. So that's all on celticfanzine.com. And if you would like to sponsor the podcast, you can do so by visiting info@celticfanzine.com, and you can also contact us on all our social media platforms. You'll find us on most of them. So, folks, thanks very much. If you're heading up to Aberdeen, I might see you there. Enjoy the week, and also enjoy Trophy Day on Saturday. And thanks for listening again. Hail, hail, keep the faith.